Bonjour et bienvenue encore une fois sur French 101 on Salvation TV. Je m'appelle Monsieur Napoleon Belingabodi pour cette émission télévisée. I am back again to you on your screen today. My name is Napoleon Belingabodi, again on Salvation TV. Please, if you're out there watching me, take your writing materials, invite your reading partners, your husband, your wife, your children to your parlor so we can talk on this program, French 101. And before we go ahead, of course, we need to take our recitation. If I remember in our previous episode where we talk about Se Présenter, we took our anthem, so to say, or our recitation, which I call our recitation. So we're going to take it again before we proceed. Because, the more you do it, the more it comes to you, of course. And so, are you ready to go with me? While you take your writing materials, inviting your neighbors, inviting your friends, your husband and your wife and your children to your parlor, watching French 101, recite with me. Notre Père, qui est aux cieux, que ton nom soit sanctifié. Que ton règne vienne, que ta volonté soit faite, sur la terre comme au ciel. Donne-nous aujourd'hui notre pain de ce jour. Pardonne-nous nos offenses, comme nous aussi nous pardonnons à ceux qui nous ont offensés. Ne nous induis pas à la tentation, mais délivre-nous du mal. Car c'est à toi qu'appartiennent le règne, la puissance et la gloire des siècles et des siècles. Amen. Can someone say amen there? Okay, that was a very good one. What we just said here or recited here is our Lord's Prayer in French. Of course, nobody sat down that today I want to learn our Lord's Prayer. It's by reciting it and reciting over and over, you come to know about it. So the same thing happens in French. Of course, by the time you recite it and recite it and recite it, you will know about it. And that is our recitation or our recitation on French 101, of course. Previously, we talked about se présenter, how to present yourself in French. And we talked about some stages that you need to parcourir. The Frenchman would say parcourir, as if some stages you need to go through to be able to present yourself in a francophone environment. And we said that those processes have to go with your name. It has to do with your occupation. It has to do with your habitation, where you live. It has to do with what you like and what you dislike. It has to do with a lot of things, all your occupation and all that. What we'll talk about on your name, je m'appelle, on your nationality, je suis, and then your nationality, Nigerian, Français, Sénégalaise, come in and all that. And your occupation, of course, we say, if you're a student, we say, je suis étudiant. Okay, if you are a doctor, je suis docteur or médecin. If you are an engineer, je suis ingénieur. And all that and that and that and that. And I'm sure by this time, you proceed in your lesson and the lessons from where we stop. And today, we want to go into something very interesting that you need to understand. And today's lesson is, by this time, I'm sure you have your note there, ready to take notes. And as such, I want to go into this lesson. And today's lesson has to do with what I title, Les Animaux. What is the topic today? Les Animaux. Les Animaux. Les Animaux. Let me hear you say, Les Animaux. Okay. I want to, before we go into the body of this lesson today, I want to let us understand that when we talk about Les Animaux, we are talking about animals, of course. And today, of course, I want to categorize my lesson based on animals to three different categories. And of course, I will take two categories. And the very two categories I'm going to take, of course, they are one, les animaux domestiques, les animaux sauvages. And the next category, which I'm not going to take here, of course, I will mention it for the sake of the lesson and the subsequent part of it. Of course, that has to do with les animaux aquatiques. Of course, the word aquatic is coming from, is a derivative of aquatic, which is water. Of course, when you talk about aquatic animals, you're talking about les animaux aquatiques, that has to do with water animals, of course. But today, we're going to narrow our talk to only les animaux domestiques and les animaux sauvages. Okay? So let's talk about les animaux domestiques. And when we talk about les animaux domestiques, of course, we're talking about some animals that habits, that is habits, when I say habit, I'm talking about live. There's animal domestique in my note, animals that habit dans le voisinage. Voisinage is a neighborhood. So I take it on my note, I say, les animaux domestiques qui sont les animaux qui habitent dans le voisinage humain. Now, these are animals that live within the neighborhood or human neighborhood. These are animals that live with what? The human neighborhood. That's what I'm talking about there. You know? And so what are those animals that are living in the human voisinage? When I say voisinage, I'm talking about neighborhood. Now I say voisinage humain, I'm talking about the human neighborhood, of course. Okay? And what are those animals? On my list and my lesson notes, just as you can see right on the screen there, the first animal there is le chien. Let me say le chien. Le chien. Le chien. Of course, sometime I told you in our previous episode or lesson that when you see an N or a consonant ending a word or a noun, that last consonant is not pronounced until you have an E at the end of that noun or that consonant. And so the chien there is ending with an N. An N is a consonant. And so we say le chien. I don't want someone to say le chien. No, you don't go chien. You go chien. Le chien. Your mouth opens chien and you don't close again. You don't go chien. No, you go chien. Let me say chien. 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 Okay, that was a wonderful one. I can see somebody repeating it there with me. And what is the chien that you can see on the screen there? Le chien means the dog. So the dog is the chien in French, okay? And the next thing there is le chat. Le chat. The next thing there is what? Le chat. The same law is still rolling here. And le chat is spelled C-H-A-T. C-H-A-T. Of course, the L-E there you see in front of the chat there is called a determinant. A determinant. If you either call it determinant, of course, you either call it determinant or you call it article. Call it determinant or you call it what? Article. Of course, this time is what we call l'article défini. L'article défini. This thing is called l'article défini. And what I call article défini is the LE there. And what does it mean? Somebody will ask me. I know very well that somebody is asking me there. And the LE there, sometimes you see LE, you see LA, you see L apostrophe, and you see LES. These things are all called les déterminants, or they are also called les articles. And what kind of article are they? They are called articles indéfinis, meaning definite articles. Sorry, les articles définis. Les articles définis. Les articles définis. They are called les articles définis, meaning they are definite articles. And why are they definite? They tell you that this is a dog. Okay? Of course, they all put together, they mean the dog, the cat, the house, the this, the that. In English, we only have the this, the dog, the TV, the man, the boy. But you know, French language is gender-based language. And so, if you are using the language as a language, a medium of communication, you understand when to use the gender, the masculine gender and the feminine gender. Of course, this L-E, L-A, L apostrophe and L-E-S, of course, one will come to that lesson. We shall do justice to it. But for now, you're going to be seeing L-E, L-A, L apostrophe, probably L apostrophe, and then L-E-S probably at the beginning of a word. Of course, it will tell you the masculine gender and the feminine gender of a word. So when you see L-E in front of a word, it tells you simply that that word is a masculine noun or a masculine word. If you see L-A for now, in the interim, if you see L-A, L-A stands in front of a feminine word. These are the two we're going to play. Unless subsequently, if you come across any of the L apostrophe and the L-S, L-E-S, I will tell you their functions. And of course, for now, I said le chat. And I said lo. That thing is called le. Le chat is the cat there. And the cat, of course, le chat, don't say le chat. Le chat. You are not getting the pronunciation. You say le chat. Your mouth open and does not close again. So let me hear you say le chat. Le chat. Encore le chat. Le chat. That means the cat. Of course, until E comes to the end of that T there, that T will remain quiet. And the same thing happens to every word or every noun that ends with a consonant. Unless on some exceptional words. Exceptional words. But general rule says that when a word is ending or a noun is ending with a consonant, that consonant is silence. That consonant is a silence. And so our sha here is sha. You ignore the T. It's as if the T is not there. But if you see E at the end of the T, it means, of course, it tells you that you should pronounce the last consonant. Of course, do not even forget that at that point, the E is also now silent. It only permits you to pronounce the silent consonant. I think we're going to treat in our next episode or in subsequent episode, we're going to treat adjective qualificative. We're going to come across that. But for now, le chat is what? The cat. And next thing on my list and my note is le coq. Le coq. Le coq. Le coq. Again, le coq. Everybody, le coq. Everybody there, le coq. And what is le coq? Le coq is the fowl. Le coq is the fowl. Le coq is the fowl. Okay, the next thing there is le cheval. Le cheval. What is le cheval? Le cheval is one of the domestic animals that can be used for transportation purposes. It could be used for sporting events and all that. Le cheval. Le cheval means what? The horse. And le cheval veut dire horse. For all other persons that are looking or watching this program from Francophone background, I want to tell us that le cheval veut dire the horse. Le cheval veut dire the horse. The horse, en français, le cheval. L'anglais, the horse. En français, le cheval. In English, which is en anglais, le cheval. So that is the horse there. The next thing is le pigeon. Le pigeon. Le pigeon. Le pigeon. Le pigeon. And what is le pigeon? Le pigeon is the pigeon. Le pigeon is the pigeon. Oh, there's this animal I love very well, a domestic animal. Sometimes when he hears you make a noise, he hears you, like if he hears me speaking French now, he will begin to speak French. And of course, he should understand. He should just suspect the animal I'm talking about here, a domestic animal. He talks, and that animal is le perroquet. Le perroquet. The animal is what? Le perroquet. And what is le perroquet? The parrot. That animal is the parrot. The parrot. That's why, some people will say, do not be parrotic. Are you a parrotic animal? Are you parrotic? Parrot, because it talks. Le perroquet. In French, the parrot is known as what? Le perroquet. Le perroquet. Let me say, le perroquet. Le perroquet. And that is what the parrot. The next thing that the next animal I have on my own note is le lapin domestique. Le lapin domestique. Le lapin domestique is either le lapin or le lapin domestique. It's still the same thing we're talking about. Some authors will say le lapin and they end it there. I will say le lapin domestique, which of course means the rabbit. The rabbit in French is known as le lapin. You call it le lapin, you are correct. You call it le lapin domestique, you are also correct. And so that is le lapin. And what is le lapin? Le lapin is what? The rabbit. Okay? The next thing there is le canard. Le canard. Le canard. Le canard. Some time ago I told you, R is a celebrated letter in French. When you are speaking French and your R is not well articulated, your tonation is not interesting to the listener. And so, of course, I told you two manner of articulating your R. I told you that the first articulation of the R is the real Frenchman from the Paris. And he say, for something like canard, he will say canard, le canard. His pronunciation of R is coming from the inside the gullet. And of course, the African will say le canard. Le canard. Le canard. Of course, you should know the difference between the two pronunciations. One is le canard. Of course, the Africans say, we will say le canard. But the Frenchman will say le canard. Le canard. Le canard. He pronounces his canard from inside the gullet here. He vibrates the gullet there and then he's gotten his R. You know, so he will always say, of course, phonetically, that's the correct way to pronounce it. Of course, he will say le canard, le canard, le canard, le canard. But if you can't say le canard, nothing stops you from saying le canard, le canard. Of course, but if you can articulate your R, vibrate your gullet with the R there, you'll be able to make it as le canard. Okay? That is how le canard is pronounced. And I say le canard is your dog. When I say dog, I'm talking about dog fowl. Dog fowl. Right. The next thing there is la vache. La vache. La vache. The next thing is la vache. La vache. And what is la vache? Somebody will ask me. Look at the screen there. La vache is the cow there. Are you looking at there? La vache is what? The cow. And of course, the next thing there is le cochon. Le cochon. Let me say le cochon. Le cochon. Le cochon. Le cochon. Le cochon. That cochon means the pig. What is le cochon? Le cochon veut dire the pig. Let me say the pig. Okay, let me say le cochon. Le cochon. Le cochon is what? The pig. Of course, the next thing there is la poule. La poule. La poule. La poule. La poule. La poule. And la poule is the N. Of course, the pronunciation is very, very interesting and simple. You know, in comparative linguistics, you know, when languages, you know, when you are learning a foreign language, the areas of similarities will make the language easy for learning, and the areas of differences will make the language difficult in learning. And so I am seeing an area of similarity, okay, in contrastive linguistics. That's what we call contrastive linguistics. When the pronunciation of a foreign language coincides with the language of the environment, we have a similarity there. Of course, when there are differences, of course, it makes it difficult. When there are similarities, it makes the learning of the language very, very easy. Of course, sometimes when you go to some doors in offices, they say, pull the door. Pull it. Pull the door. That pull there is what is known as pronunciation in la poule. Okay? La poule is what? The hen. Of course. So, la poule is the hen. Ladies and gentlemen, messieurs et dames, je vous en prie, nous sommes vers la fin de cette émission pour aujourd'hui. I love you all. On your screen, again, Napoleon Belinga Body, always on this program with you. I'll be right back. Bonjour. Here is a chance to learn French language on French 101. A, B, 3, 2, E. The R in French is known as the R. And the R can appear in words like règle, règle. Our T in French is T. French 101, a TV program to help you understand and speak French language. Plus de 220 millions de personnes dans le monde entier parlent le français. Et nous voulons que vous les rejoigniez. French 101. Just as I was saying about les animaux, I told us some previous time that la poule is a hen. Of course, someone would tell me what's the difference between la poule and le coq. La poule is a female fowl, and le coq is a male fowl. Okay, of course, you have it as the fowl and the hen, right? So in French, we also have le coq and la poule. I hope somebody's hearing me over there. All right. For now, I want to evaluate my students. I want to evaluate to see if you understood what I have just said. All right? Do you really understand or understood what I've said? I want to evaluate you. Are you ready for your evaluation? Let's go. I say, I'm giving you questions by way of evaluating you if you understood what I have said here. And I say, le dash est un animal domestique. 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 Option numéro 1, numéro A, le lion. Option numéro A, le lion. Option numéro B, le chien. Option numéro B, C, tigre. Le dash est un animal domestique. And I'm here with my options. Option numéro A, le lion. B, le chien. C, le tigre. What's your answer there? Le dash est un animal domestique. From A, B, C, which one is a domestic animal? It's what I want to know. So, what's your answer there? Are you getting the answer? Someone has gotten it there, and I love that. I can see someone excited here that he's gotten the answer. And I want to give the answer. Le dash est un animal domestique. The answer is option numéro... Hold it there. This is an argumentative class there. Are you sure you got it there? Okay, let's go. I have my answer as option what? Number B. Clap for yourself. Someone is getting it there. And if you put chien there, le chien est un animal domestique. What's the meaning of that sentence? The sentence means that the dog, of course, you know le chien as the dog. Okay? Le chien is a domestic animal. Right. Let's go to our deuxième question. Deuxième question there is, le dash est un animal domestique. The same question is flowing. Le dash est un animal domestique. I can see my answer there. Le dash est un animal domestique. I want someone to get it. Option numéro A, chat. Option numéro B, serpent. Option numéro C, éléphant. Éléphant, you have le chat, le serpent, l'éléphant. What is your answer there? Someone has got the answer there? Have you got the answer? Get the answer there. Okay, can I give my verdict of the answer there? 1, 2, go. My answer is option numéro... Oh, Napoleon, take it easy. Take it easy, Napoleon, take it easy. Someone has not gotten it. All right, I can see somebody telling me you've not gotten it, okay? All right, just look at it. From option A, B, C, which one is a domestic animal? That's my question. Partie de option A, B, C, quel est l'animal qui est l'animal domestique? Which one is a domestic animal? Quel animal est domestique de A, B, and C? My answer is option numéro A. Someone is getting it there. Clap for yourself. That was a wonderful one. I love that. Let's proceed into our next question. And our next question evaluation has to do with la dash est un animal domestique. La dash est un animal domestique. La dash est un animal domestique. In other words, from option numéro A, numéro B, et C, which one is a domestic animal? Ladies and gentlemen, I can see somebody smiling and just say, I've seen the answer. Yes, you have seen it. I'm also seeing it. Take it easy. Some people who have not seen it that are joining French 101 on Salvation TV for the first time. So we don't need to leave them behind. We have to carry everybody along. And as such, we have to soft pedal, so that every person will be carried along. Okay? Imagine, are you joining us for the first time on Salvation TV French 101? You are with Napoleon Belinga Body on Salvation TV French 101. And this lesson has to do with domestic animals. And that's what we'll be rolling all this while. And we're evaluating ourselves. And of course, we have come to question numéro ou évaluation, la question d'évaluation numéro 3, where we talked about la dash est un animal domestique. And so from option A, B, C, which one is a domestic animal? Of course, on my screen there, somebody has gotten it there, and I want to declare my verdict on this answer. Okay, ma réponse est la bonne réponse on my option. The correct answer to me is, I may be 40, but so far, I think I am trying my best to make sure I give you the answer. And my answer is option numéro C. Are you correct there? Have you gotten it there? Are you sure? Are you very sure you've gotten it there? Okay, clap for yourself. That was a wonderful one. I say clap for yourself. It's not easy. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. La poule. And what is la poule again, if you remember? I said la poule was what? Was the N. I hope you remember. La poule was the N there. Okay? From option A, B, C. Tigress is a female tiger. And la table, you have nothing to do with la table. La table is table now. It's not an animal. And therefore, la poule is your answer. All these are domestic animals. Of course, when you talk about domestic animals, these are some domestic animals we have. Ladies and gentlemen, all my students out there, please, for those of us who are in primary schools, secondary schools, please, this lesson is very paramount to you. Merci bien. Avec vous pour cette émission télévisée, c'était Napoleon Belinga Body. Merci bien. Until I come your way again, I will always remain Napoleon Belinga Body on French 101, operating on the frequency Salvation TV. Merci bien et bonne journée à vous.